Hello everyone and welcome back to another custom doll video. I am so happy to be back. Apologies again for another long hiatus. Emma and I both had a lot of stuff going on, but we are back and working together, and yeah, I'm super excited for this video. We've actually been working on this doll very slowly throughout the whole month. It is actually Jinx, of course, as you saw by the title. We have been wanting to make a Jinx doll literally for years, but with the second season of Arcane coming, we figured this would be the perfect time to make her. And I know I teased at the end of the last video that we were making her, and some of you got it right away. All I think I said was that the second season was coming soon, but of course, so many of you already know. So I'm so excited to get started on showing you guys how we made this doll, so let's get right into it. So of course, like the majority of our other custom dolls, we are using a Monster High doll as the base. I chose a G1 Twyla face mold for this doll. I just really felt like she had a lot of similar features to Jinx. Not a perfect one-to-one, but I thought she was the best fit for this project. I got this nylon blue hair from Shimmerlocks. It was really tricky to find a exact shade of blue in pretty much any texture of hair, nylon or saran. So this was pretty much the closest I could find. I still don't think it's exactly perfect, but I feel like it does the job pretty well. I did a reroot all around the hairline because I didn't want the braids to be too thick. But this is also the longest reroot I have ever done for a custom. Her hair is gorgeously long, luscious long locks. I also left a section here for her bangs that'll be styled and cut later on, but now we gotta match her skin tone, obviously, because Jinx is not purple. I felt like if I just chose a random Monster High doll to do this face up on, that no matter what I did, it wouldn't really look like Jinx, so I really hope that Twyla is a close enough match to her facial structure. I was mostly looking at the cheekbones and eye shape and nose shape. The mouth shape is a little more easier to paint the details like in a bigger scale or smaller scale and kind of get away with it, but when you're working with like the eyes and nose, that is where it becomes a lot more tricky. So for this face up, I am trying my absolute best to replicate the gorgeous art style of Arcane and kind of bring that into the physical while also keeping it slightly more stylized, I would say. I don't know if it's exactly a mix with the Monster High art style or if it's just like a mix with how I tend to lean into doing face ups. I don't really know how to describe it exactly, but for reference, I was just looking at like every possible close-up photo I could find of Jinx from the show. I feel like this style is a lot more gritty compared to my normal like super clean-cut stylized look, and at the same time this is also animated and very I don't know, in your face, kind of cartoonified. But at the same time, I wanted my lines to not be as smooth and clean as you see, like when I paint on her eye bags and everything. It's not like perfect shapes or anything. I think the coolest part of this face up was me getting to paint areas of the face that I normally never paint on, because the style of Arcane and the way it looks is like more harsh contouring and like places like on the nose and under the eyes and things that I don't paint on a doll because the doll naturally is 3D and has those contours, but I think it came out really cool and I love the look of it overall. And if you're new to this channel and you want to know how I do things, I am always using acrylic paints for my face-ups. I slightly water them down and use some very fine tipped nail art brushes that I found online or at my local craft store. And that gets the job done for me. Of course, you can always use literally anything. I do not think the tool is what makes the artist more skilled. I think it's more so the practice and the skill that you have that makes you more skilled. But yeah, people are always asking me what I use to do face-ups and other things when it comes to doll customization. As always, I have a link with my full material list in the description of this video. If you are looking for anything on there, I have it all and it shows what I use it for. Now, for her eyes, I wanted to do the pink eyes because that is what you see throughout Season 2 is Jinx with her pink eyes. Also, I thought it would stand out more and look really cool with the rest of her design. So yeah, I wanted her to have that like more crazy looking expression, of course, hence giving her the more angled brow and very wide-eyed stare. At this stage, I really thought her eyes looked like I was painting like Pokeballs or something. They look very anime-esque, but that's just because I haven't painted on her pupils yet. That will change very soon. The one thing about acrylic paints that I always point out as probably being the biggest downside to using them exclusively, pretty much, is that they do not blend together seemingly at all. Now, I have other paints that I can use if I need to blend two colors together. More often, I would say I would take like watercolor pencils and blend those together. Again, it's not something I do often enough that would warrant me using other materials, but maybe say if I wanted to blend this black into the really dark pink, more magenta looking color, another medium would probably be useful for that. However, I didn't do that for this face up, and I think it still looks beautiful, so we're moving on. The freckles is just a very light brown on a nail art brush. Dotting that on as thinly and finely as I possibly could is very difficult. And then adding the white highlights to her eyes. Always the beautiful finishing touch to making the eyes pop out. And I love the catch lights in Arcane for Jinx. I don't know, they're very simple, but I thought they were very pretty. Now, Jinx's lip color I was a little iffy about. To me, they honestly look like a dark purple, so that is what I went with. More so on the reddish hue. Again, this is kind of like a magenta. And there's lots of lip cracks you can see, which I think is a really cool detail and not something I add very often to my face-ups, so it was a cool, fun change to try out. And I also took a watercolor pencil to add the veins around her eyes. I did that very light-handedly because I wanted it to like look like it was under her skin, and I thought that was a very cool finishing detail to this face-up. And no gloss varnish, if you know, you know. Now moving on to her tattoos, I just freehanded these on her body using as many references as I could possibly find. I couldn't find like an official reference of like just the tattoos, you know, not like a picture of them on her body, but just so I could see the full tattoo design. I couldn't find one. So I'm doing like a mix of like I think like fan design layouts and the official design photos I could find of everything, and trying my very best to sketch the outline and then fill them in with this lighter blue, and then I will be taking a very fine brush to do all of the outlining afterwards. Overall, I think the tattoos turned out really cool. I do take off that like numbered branding on her lower back later on with some acetone because, well, as Emma will tell you in this video, a little mishap did happen that resulted in me having to repaint a lot of her tattoos. But moving on to her 3D printed accessories, I actually sculpted her pistol zapper gun completely myself. I'm so proud of this. This is like the first like official like really detailed sculpt I've used for a custom. And then this was one we bought online for the bombs, and then I sculpted her buckles as well. Very small thing to do, but I did that. We bought the minigun. I did not sculpt the minigun. But then I went through and painted all of these 3D printed accessories by hand. And of course, thank you to Emma, who does all the 3D printing, because she has a bigger brain than me. And as for Jinx's shoes, I sculpted these. I did that. And they are in a flexible resin, so they can be removed from the foot, and they fit a Monster High Ever After High G1 foot. Absolutely crazy that I did that. I cannot believe that I did that. I have no lessons in 3D sculpting, so I was very worried that these were not going to come out good. But since they are like my first official like attempt at a real sculpt for something you can use for a doll, these will be available on our Patreon to paid Patreon members. You don't have to pay extra for these if you're already in the Patreon, but it's like $2 to join our Patreon. So if you want access to these 3D files, they will be there for you to use at your will, however you wish. If you'd like to make your own Jinx custom Monster High doll and you need some shoes, feel free to head over to the Patreon. If you got a 3D printer or have a friend with one, you can get these shoes. And we also 3D printed her Fishbones, like RPG, and I painted that. And here's how everything looks finished, painted, absolutely gorgeous. So happy with how all the 3D stuff turned out. I think it looks incredible.
Hey guys, it's Emma, and today I'm going to be making the outfit for the one and only Jinx from Arcane. Morgan and I have a list of dolls that we've been wanting to make, and Jinx has been on that list for a long time. And now with season 2 of Arcane finally coming out, it's time to make her. Also, can we talk about how good season 2 was? Like, I'm still flabbergasted, literally shell-shocked. It was so good. And the soundtracks of Arcane are always the best, like on repeat at all times. I'm going to be starting with the base of her outfit, which is her shirt first. While making this, I realized that Jinx's outfit is very piratey, like it is literally pirate. But the design is phenomenal. Adding some eyelets, and then I'm going to mallet them in. And then I was really bad at filming for this because I was just so into it that I am so sorry. You guys are just going to see a little bit. I bought this purple and black fabric off Etsy, so it's not exactly the same, but it will work. And then for the rest of the pieces that have stripes on them, Morgan so very graciously painted them for me. And let me just say, we did have a little bit of an incident with the gold. I did not let it dry, started sewing it on her, and I got gold paint all over her. Morgan was so angry at me and I am so sorry, but you know what, she got rid of it, so Morgan is a god. I'm sorry, but she fixed my mistakes. But the pants turned out really good besides that, so thank you, Morgan. Then after that, I just made her belt and added the 3D printed accessories, which Morgan 3D modeled. We are getting artsy out here. Good job, Morgan. Morgan is carrying for real. Now it's my turn to carry, and I designed and came up with this idea for the stand. So I wanted the stand to be the monkey, but I was like, we could just paint it on, but I was like, no. It needs to glow. It needs to glow. So I added some fairy lights inside, and then I added some felt on the bottom and some paper, and then Morgan's just gonna paint it. And I think it looks so good, and it's like just like a little extra detail, but it's like just knowing that it's there, it's really, really cool. The details are what makes dolls, for real. Like, just so many details. Now that the stand and her outfit is done, this doll is ready for some pictures.
I am seriously in love with how our Jinx doll turned out. I'm so proud of how we pulled her together and everything that went into making this doll. She did come with a couple of obstacles and challenges, of course. I feel like that comes with pretty much any custom. But I'm also so glad that this project got me to finally involve myself in 3D sculpting, and I hope it's something that I do a lot more in the future, and who knows, maybe inevitably am able to 3D sculpt our own physical doll for us to use. I think that would be something that is like my big dream in the future. For anyone who may be interested, this doll will be available in our shop. This one is really hard for Emma and I to let go of. I say that a lot, but this one is like, we're both so proud of this one. And Patreon members will have 24-hour early access to the shop. And as always, I would love to give a huge, huge shout out and thank you to all of our Patreon members for their continued support over the months and years. Honestly, I don't know how long we've had the Patreon, but it feels like it's been a long time now. And thank you all for watching this video and supporting us throughout our doll customizing journey. Of course, we always have something planned for the next video. Our next doll, I don't know if there's much of a hint I can give without giving it away directly, but she is, I would say, one of Emma and I's favorite musical icons. Not like musical theater, just like music. One of our favorite music icons. Yeah, I'll say that. As always, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you liked it, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe if you aren't already subscribed, and I hope to see you in the next doll customizing video. Bye!